Thanks for tuning into the Loser Kid Pinball Podcast. I am Josh Roop. With me, my co-captain,
Scott Larson.
And Scott, today is an awesome day. I'm excited. 2 games have released in the last 2 months. We got Walking Dead. We got Star Wars Fate of the Empire. Both amazing games.
Fall of the Empire.
Fall of the Empire. Tomato. What if you're going to buy these games, Scott, where are you getting them from?
You know, Zach and Nicole at Flipping Out Pinball. They've helped us out. We're great. And I just got a Jaws 70 for my buddy. So if you want to get it, reach out to them. They're always good help.
Exactly. And one more thing before we get to our guests. If you see sitting next to me, I've got this beautiful Earthshaker guitar that I had custom made from top to bottom from a gentleman called Daniel Clark with Sithar Guitars. Amazing, amazing quality. I can't wait we're going to have Daniel on to talk more about it. Seriously, this guitar is amazing. If you like guitars and you like pinball machines, it's a no-brainer. The process takes a little bit, so be comfortable with a little bit of a wait, but I promise you, it is worth the wait. So if you want more information, hit us up. We'll send you in the right direction. Scott, will you introduce our guest for us today?
We have legendary designer John Borg. Single-handedly, he's the one when we ask people who can design a pinball machine and assemble it from bolts to finished product. They always say John knows what he's doing. John's been in the industry literally for years, and he did double duty this year. Coming out last year, he did the remaster of Metallica, and this year he also has 2 that came out back to back. I have no idea how this guy did it, because we have Fall of the Empire and we have The Walking Dead. So, John, we appreciate you squeezing us in, because I think your snorkel is still below water right now.
Yep. I'm out of game jail now. I'm off the line with the startup for Walking Dead, and I figured I'd get in touch with you guys and come on the show.
I appreciate that, man, because we've been working back and forth. It seems like September. I know that we'd originally talked about doing an interview before anything was revealed. It's been chaos, and like we'd said, you'd listen to our episodes and stuff like that, and you're like, it's true. I've been neck deep in work for months now, and I guess really the question is, how much time did you have from after finishing up Metallica to starting Star Wars? And
well, Metallica came out in October. We showed it at Expo. And then November passed. I was out on the line a little bit in November with Metallica. And then in December, I found out that I was going to be working on a Star Wars license, but I wasn't sure how much of the story I was going to get. So I started out with a piece of one of the movies, and we were going to try to make a game out of that. Turned out that they negotiated the whole trilogy, so I was able to use anything I wanted from all 3 movies. I was very happy about that. And then sometime in December, early January, I found out that they were going to remaster The Walking Dead. So I took both projects on at the same time. So everything I did twice. I built 2 sets of prototypes. 2 sets of licensing issues. All the way through from the beginning to the end. It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of days and nights. I didn't even vacation last summer, so and then when we got to Expo, I thought, I'll get a little break right after Expo. And then so after Expo, we launched Star Wars, so I was on the floor for that, and then I was also finishing up Walking Dead. So I'm just now out of game jail. Everybody last summer told me that that by the time I got on vacation, I was going to be sitting in my backyard with my shorts and a t-shirt and sitting in a lawn chair with a drink with an umbrella with 4 inches of snow on top of it. Well, we got our snow. We got 10 inches of snow.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
It was crazy.
We just got dusted here, but
it was a lot of work to get them both done. And they're both beautiful games. I'm waiting for my Star Wars. It took me a while before I could even get some time to just go upstairs and order one. So I'm looking forward to getting that. I'm going to set that up. I'm setting up another little area in my basement for some more games, because like a lot of you guys, I'm running out of room.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a utility room in my basement that I've cleaned out and painted it satin black and put some really beautiful cracked ice looking tile on the floor. So I made a little mini game room. I'm going to just put a couple of my older games in there.
So here's
So,
the question: when you have something like Star Wars, uh,
mhm.
okay, this is a couple things. This is an iconic title. You know, Star Wars. This is the one thing that people, when they start getting into pinball, they're like, "Oh, there's a Star Wars game." Well, okay, it's been done many ways by multiple things. This is, I think, like the seventh version of a Star Wars game,
Yeah,
and so
yes.
when you approach the design on this, how do you say, okay, this is something that everybody knows, but I want to bring this sort of approach to it? So, how do you approach designing something?
Well, actually, some of the things that I brought to the game were things that I did before. I definitely wanted to shoot and open up a Death Star and lock balls inside for a multi-ball. And then if you look at the game, the way the inserts, the large rectangle inserts for all the modes are, with all the characters on them, I used large rectangles and I set the characters upright with a translucent area around them, that was, so the character that is screened over the insert has got a blocker behind it, so light doesn't shine through it. But there's like a big halo around the character, or parts of the insert light around the character, and that kind of came from the '92 Star Wars game. If you look at the two, you can definitely tell that that we borrowed that again. Wanted to blow off the Death Star. Wanted to do something with the AT-AT. Um, I think if I didn't put the Sarlacc pit in the game, it probably would have been R2D2 back there, doing something, locking balls, or moving, kind of like the original game had. But I wanted to make the game mainly. I wanted to make the game very approachable. A lot of newbies will play it, and they'll hit. They'll. This is the first game I think I've ever made where I could plunge the ball and I could probably hit every shot within the first 30 seconds. And if I can do that, people are gonna. When you're aiming at something, sometimes you miss and you hit the shot right next to it, and you feel rewarded. Um, you're not bricking off targets too much in the game. You're pretty much making shots, and that center shot up the middle, the hyperspace ramp. It's really fast, gets the ball right back to your flipper, and it's really easy to repeat over and over again. And people love that. I think that's what people liked about the first Star Wars game, is you could shoot that center ramp really easily, and you got to see it go around the loop and come back to your right flipper. Um, and I think people really liked that. It was easy and it was rewarding. And somebody that doesn't play pinball, they're generally shooting up the middle, and they would
Mhm.
hit that ramp, and they're feeling rewarded. Like, wow, I did something. Wow, I got to do that again. And wow, I can do it several times in a row. This is really cool. And the combos were great on the game too. Like when I plunge the ball comes to the left flipper. I shoot it up the right ramp and it comes back, and then I shoot the Death Star to get the thing open, like right from the get go. Um, and But I just wanted to make the game really approachable for people. And also the rules on the game are really deep. For your hardcore players, there's a lot there. Ray and Andrew crushed it. They really did a great job.
Do you feel like you kind of came full circle with your first game for Data East being Star
Oh
Wars,
yeah,
and then 30 years later it's Star
30
Wars?
years later, I get to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Is there anything that you wish that you'd done on the first one that you're like, I've got to do this in this one?
Yeah, a real AT-AT. I would have liked to put a real AT-AT in the first one. I ran out of real estate. If we would have made it a wide body, I could have had an AT-AT in the first one.
The LE should have had it foldable legs, so the whole thing could, if you destroyed it, the whole thing
Oh,
would
AT-AT legs on the game. That would have
yeah.
been so cool. Maybe that's the accessories package. You can buy AT-AT legs for the machine.
There's a modder
Right,
out there that's now going to take that idea and run with it. You know
They,
it.
they
right,
should.
right.
They should.
So you kind of talked about a little bit of the designer process. I know when people think of designer, they just kind of think of the play field. And you talked about like dealing with licenses. What is kind of the typical process? Can you just kind of walk us through what a designer does when making a game?
Everybody does it different. I've seen some guys that just sketch, and just put a picture out there and hand it to a mechanical engineer and let them run with it. I've like Dennis makes a quarter scale model of a game out of foam core and lays out shots, and he does beautiful. He does a beautiful scale version, downscaled version of the game. I start out right at CAD, and I just start laying out line work. And then, when I get done with it, it's all real. I turn it over to a guy that does SolidWorks, and he just, he does all the Z and extrudes all the parts and makes the model. So it's all real. And I go after everything. I mean, all the access holes for all the drop wires, for all the switches and everything. I just, when I cut the thing loose to a mechanical engineer, I want him to have find very few problems, and just be able to just go after it. Get a prototype up real quick.
So is it you that has to deal with the licensor, or is it more of like a Gomez thing, or
No,
combination?
yeah, no. Generally, Jody, George, Seth, they'll deal with licensors mostly. Um, Usually when we start a project, we'll get together. Like when we started Star Wars, we got together and we had a meeting, with them, and it was the whole team. Mechanical engineer, myself, the whole design team. But as we're going through approval process and whatnot, I'll usually hear from, Jody will call up and say, this has got to change, or the likeness of this person has to be altered. And he works all that out.
How did that process kind of change since you had to juggle 2 games at once? Or how did you
Just
survive that
two,
process?
two team meetings a week, one on Thursday, one on Friday. I just kept pounding away. I would work on one, and then I, get tired, and then I would go and switch over to the other one. And then, to make a SAM game, a spike game, there was a lot of work in that. Just some of the standards that we have adopted, and like the back panel moves in a half an inch because the back panel is now a stiffener support for the playfield. We used to put a wood rail there and put the back panel on the back of the playfield. So all the ramp trimming had to be redone. The wood rails that used to run up and down the sides of the playfields, those vinyl coated wood rails, we don't use those anymore. It's a steel rail. So I couldn't have any cutouts where there'd be GI lights or a rail maybe going right to the edge of the playfield. And I had that on Walking Dead in the upper right-hand corner. So I was able to massage that a little bit, put a bigger radius on it, open it up a little bit, because that was kind of a hard shot. So I worked on a lot of the geometry, to pull all that stuff in and change all the ramps. And then we did a lot of work on the game mechanically. We simplified the prison door mechanism, the linkage. We simplified that and beefed it up a little bit. The crossbow mechanism is driven with a cylindrical motor now instead of the little pear-shaped motor. The pear-shaped motors don't usually last as long as the cylindrical ones. They're a little more expensive, but the thing is going to work forever. And it has an encoder on it, so I can actually know exactly where the cannon is pointing. So that'll come into play later, but we're not going to talk about that today.
Oh, dang, a little taste. I like that though.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just hoping what you can do is steal someone's crossbow, and you can control it from somewhere else. That would be awesome. You can mess with our crossbow.
Bluetooth to the game. Oh yeah.
Hey, but you are bringing this up, and so I want to bring this in. One of the big things. This is the first game that is really pushing all the things that Spike 3 does. And I know that it still doesn't have everything, but what are some of the things that you were able to do with the Spike 3 that you hadn't had in your toolbox before?
Well, it's faster, and it's more robust. Um, it's a lot faster. That's probably a better question for Guido or Rede.
Mhm.
But the sound is just amazing. The sound system, I just love it. When you buy the LE, you got the 4 speakers in the speaker panel instead of 2, and it just sounds great. Well, when I was showing people Star Wars at Expo, I was telling them, I go, if you buy one of these, I go, you set the volume level at 32 and it sounds great. And I go, if you put it up to 55, all your neighbors are going to know you have one. They're all going to come over. So the biggest thing for me with the new system is the sound system. It's beautiful.
Well, and that bigger display too. I mean, that looks great. Yeah.
And the Walking Dead music, the soundtrack it's always, it's always been good.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of really good levels of music.
So one thing, looking at your playfield, so help me distinguish when you're designing and you have to say, okay, I need to have an LE premium playfield and I have to have a pro version of this playfield. How do you
Hmm.
decide what elements to put in to upscale, and which ones you're like, you know what, we can really try to streamline it for the location, which is what the pro is typically designed for.
Yeah, sometimes I start out laying out I start out with the pro. Usually I start and put all the bells and whistles in, and I look at the premium LE price, and I look at the numbers and figure out what I'm going to have to do to make it a pro. Like in Star Wars, I took the motor out of the AT-AT. Um, so the AT-AT and the Pro Star Wars game is just, it's upright and it stays that way. It doesn't move. Um, you got to just look at what you've got, and you've got to look to see where you have to get to a pro budget.
So one question I had, I know that a couple people have asked recently. Sometimes the Death Star rejects and whatnot. Are you guys working on a fix to remedy that, or what's going on there?
Yeah, we have a kit. It's a simple bracket that mounts on the front of the Death Star ball lock trough, and it has a bigger opening in it, and it allows the ball to go in easier. And we just while we were waiting for Walking Dead to come up, um, we made we made a bunch of Star Wars games last week or the week before, and we used this new bracket. And I went out and checked the games when they came up, and they shot like butter. Um, it's just a bracket that mounts to the front of the trough, and it has a bigger opening in it. The only thing is you have to take off the plastics around it to get to the mounting screws to mount it. But once you put that thing in, it shoots like butter. So,
Awesome. I know.
so I don't know if that kit is available yet, but I know it's going to be. If it's not already, it's going to be in the next few days. It's coming.
Awesome. I know a lot of people. I've got one friend that he loves your new Star Wars. He loves all your games. I don't know if you know Tim Lee, but he's a Borg
Oh
fan,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I
Yeah,
do. I know.
Tim is an awesome dude, and he's always bragging to me about his favorite game of all time is The Walking Dead, and he just absolutely loves Star Wars, and he owns both games now, and it's just he's
Uh,
like, you got to ask. He's like, I turned
yeah.
to him when I was like, dude, I need all the questions because I know you
Mhm.
know these games inside and out.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I guess that was just he wanted to know too if you have a tip to best utilize the Jedi magnet too at the bottom.
When the ball drains, let's say the ball drains out. Yeah, a lot of people have asked me about this. When the ball drains out the left side and you got the Jedi save lit, um, or the force save, um, right before the ball hits that little bracket that you see sticking out by the out hole, right about as it gets to that bracket, you hit that button and it'll fling it right up the out lane on the right side into the shooter lane. Now, if the ball drains out the right side and it comes by, if you hit the button, it'll actually force the ball into the out hole. You got to let it go past the magnet, and it hits that rail, that metal rail, the flat rail that guides it in from the left side. Let it bounce off that, and it'll bounce up toward the magnet. When it's on its way up toward the magnet, you hit the button, and it'll throw it back up in between the flippers. So
Mm.
it's pretty interesting. If you spell Jedi all the way, when you keep shooting the spinners and you spell Jedi all the way, it'll actually stop the ball and bring it to a halt, and then it'll throw it up between the flippers. But it's actually more fun when you've got the J, the E, and the D lit, and use just the force save, not the Jedi ball save. Um, so there's a difference between the two. Some people, they get you have to get the J, and the E to light it, and then when you get the D, it gives you another try. Because sometimes if you hit the button and your timing is off, and say the ball rolls up the right out lane a little bit and it comes back, let it bounce off that rail and gives you a second try. So you hit the button again, and as the ball's going back up toward that magnet again, it'll fling it right between the flippers. It's definitely a lot of fun when you learn how to use it, especially when you're on ball three and you're getting ready to start multi-ball or something like that. and you save your ball, you're just like, yes. It's a lot of fun.
I know that's one of the cool parts in the trailer. I'm always watching that. I was like, dang, that's so cool to watch the just go past Yoda right up into the
Yeah.
shooter lane. Oh yeah.
Mike Vinicor and I were talking about that. He said he reminded me of GoldenEye, James Bond GoldenEye
Oh
back
wow,
in the
back in the
'90s,
day, yeah.
and it had a standard bottom, standard 4-lane bottom, and the flippers are right in the middle of the game. Where this game, you got a 5-lane bottom, so the flippers are offset.
Hmm.
So looking at it, I was like, well, I'm going to be able to save it going this way, but the other way isn't going to work. And then so when I was exercising it and playing with it, there were a few times where the ball I'd hit the button and the timing would be just right on, and the ball would go flinging up the right out lane, and it would go up the out lane and almost get out in between the rubbers that are there. And I thought, wow, that's cool. So I just took and I cut a piece of the ball guide wire off and allowed it to just go up the right out lane and go right into the shooter lane. And it worked great. And I was like, so I started showing the guys, I'm like, look at this. This is really cool, and I'm like, force save. So um, it worked out really great. So we took something from an old game and we made it even better. It's very skillful, and it's a lot of fun, very rewarding when you save your ball. Yeah, when I started working on Star Wars, I had the AT-AT. I had him. He was set back a little farther than he is in the production game, and when you hit him, I had a target right up where his legs were, and you shot the target, and then he would lean over and expose his head to the playfield, and there was an opto out in front of him, and he actually shot it in the head. And so I made the model without the guns on the front, and Disney said you gotta put the guns on. So I thought those things are going to break off, and they're going to be on the playfield, and people are going to be screaming. Uh, so so we just had the thing. I moved it forward, and I just had the thing lean down and lean over a target. And George was looking at it, and he was kind of worried that the ball may still hit the thing in the head. Like if it deflects and bounces and it hits the target and it goes up a little bit or something, it may catch the head. So he took the model and he took the front plate where the neck was mounted, and he made it pivot. So when the thing comes down, its chin kind of hits a bracket and it lifts up, to kind of get the ball or the head a little further out of harm's way. And that worked out great. Uh, it would have been fun to bash the thing in the head, but I didn't want it to fall apart either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't blame you.
I can imagine a lot of headless AT-ATs out on location with
right.
with that sort of
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah. And when I made Metallica, my snake lost teeth.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to lose my head in this one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So and then even like if hitting the AT-AT in the head also puts a little bit of a jolt on the linkage, and it's a pear shaped motor that drives that thing. So I was a little bit worried about that too. So I was told once a long time ago, it's better to make a good game that works great than a great game that works good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
I noticed a lot of wireforms in here. So tell me about your philosophy on wireforms, because yes, it's cool to look at the ball travel around a wireform, but there is a purpose to designing the speed at which it's coming off the wireform, or the kinesthetics of it. So can you tell me why you chose the way you did on these wireforms?
I plastic ramps get scratched and they look dull after a while. I like the wire ramp look, and you can see through, and you can see all the artwork behind it. Um, you can see through a plastic ramp too, but I definitely wouldn't have made all the ramps steel. But I do like wire ramps. Remember Tales from the Crypt?
Yep.
That thing had wire ramps all over it. So, but yeah, I like wire ramps.
So I noticed that on Star Wars and also on Walking Dead, that you guys are using two new artists. Are these specific to the licensors, or is this guys that you found and pulled in?
No, yeah, Vince Prost worked on the Star Wars game, and he also did Dungeons and Dragons for us.
Okay, so this
So
isn't his
so we
first
had
rodeo.
used Vince before, and I'd met him a couple of times. The new artist, Robert Lasky, he is a fabulous illustrator, and I never did get to meet him, but his work is amazing. I mean, he nailed those images. Uh, Rick couldn't look more like Rick, and Michonne looks fabulous on the cabinet. Slicing the zombie's head off. I was actually kind of a little worried that it was a little too scary, a little too, the opposite side of the cabinet on the LE has got the arrow in the zombie's head,
Yeah.
and Daryl's chasing it down. It's beautiful though. He really did a really nice job.
So this is a classic game that is now it's known for a couple of things. It's known for having a brutal layout. It's known for having epic rules and for being a game that typically favors the high-end tournament level player. So so when you approach a game like this, I'm a little curious, what was the thought process as how can we make this the remastered version of Walking Dead like you did with Metallica?
Well, if you play an old Metallica and then you play a new Metallica, you can definitely tell that the new Metallica is a lot friendlier. You get a lot more ball saves. There aren't specials in the outlanes anymore. They're saves. The bit feature in the outlanes on Walking Dead is going to save your ball for you, and the bit bonus that you achieve when you drain is just going to be just kind of an underlying thing that you just collect. Um, so just going to give you the ball back more. We're going to, ball saves going into multi-ball will last a little longer. We're going to make it play longer. It doesn't seem on the new version. It doesn't seem to be like when it comes out of the pops. It doesn't. It's not going down the drain as much. I got it's kicking off the post a little bit more. Um, it's going to be a little friendlier than the old version.
Nice. And I do like the coil that you put in with the wall walker. So it actually looks like it's
Like he's moving, because when
yeah.
you spell well, the lights just they just stream back and forth, and I wanted to make him move and provide some feedback.
Metallica was amazing already, and you guys enhanced that. Um, Ray Day did a fantastic job. Do you plan on doing any enhancements to the Walking Dead rules and whatnot as well?
The one thing that I thought was just impossibly hard, except for maybe Keith and Ray in the game, was getting the last man standing and having to
Mhm.
collect 115 zombie kills. We're going to add a couple of things that you'll collect along the way. So after you get 30 or, some number, we'll have to determine what that is exactly. But we're going to give you some, like, almost like, I want to say, mini wizard modes along the way. So when you get to 30, you'll get something cool, and you get to 60, you'll get something cool. And you can still work your way, go all the way up to 100 and something and get to last man standing. I want to make it easier to collect kills, so you can boost those numbers up faster too. So we're going to do a lot of code enhancements, and we'll probably be working on it. We'll probably be working on the code, for another few months yet. So
You also
we'll
took
be,
the you're upgrading the DMD to the LCD. And I
yes,
will I will say,
that was a
yeah,
lot of work in itself, just getting the look and feel correct and
yes.
getting licensing to approve it. We tried to mock a lot of the old display effects, and they came out really nice.
Mhm.
It looks really good. I mean, I bought a Walking Dead last summer. I bought a Walking Dead premium with very low plays on it with a color DMD,
Yeah.
and the new display work. When I look, even the color DMD looks really nice, but when I
Yeah.
look at the new display work, I'm just like, well, there's hands down, it's gorgeous.
Speaking of the new display work and whatnot, is there going to be any show clips in there? And also
No,
the other
no,
question oh, go ahead.
no show clips.
Okay. And then the other question I had too is it looks like, because I know that you guys have upgraded a lot of the scenes from the original Walking Dead, the DMD stuff, and put them into the new game. Is it still the same um, display size that you've stuck on the new screen and kind of filled
Are you
around
talking
it?
about DMD effects that you're still seeing? You were still seeing in the game, or
Correct. Yeah. So like, from Walking Dead, the DMD, it looks like in the new trailer, you guys have kind of refreshed those and made them look better for the new game.
Mhm.
Is it still the DMD size on the new screen, or
No?
did you fill out the whole screen with the whole
Oh no,
player?
we filled the whole screen. Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I know when we first went out, I think there were still a couple of DMD effects still in the game, but that's all gone now. Yeah, they're full screen renderings.
Nice.
Did you have to rework any of the modes? So, for example, on Star Wars, or sorry, not Star Wars, Spider-Man, you guys had when you did the ultimate version, they actually like some of the modes were renamed even though the gameplay was pretty much the same. Are any modes renamed or are they all going to be if you know the
No,
Walking Dead rules, you're going to walk up and
yeah,
you'll know this for
the modes are all named the same. We just changed the icons for on the mode inserts.
Mhm.
But the modes are all still going to play the way they did, and they'll be enhanced too.
Mhm. And the voice work, any more call outs, any new things going along like
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah. We have right now. The voice work that's in the game is just what we recorded from Merle uh, 10, 12 years ago. Um, but we've got I wrote scripts for Michonne, Daryl, Maggie, Carol, T Dog. Um, some of the characters I only pulled like maybe 5 to 10 lines from, um, but like the main characters like Rick and Carl and Daryl, and I pulled a lot of lines and dug up all the timestamps and gave all that stuff to Jerry, and he captured it all. So that's going to be will be populated and start to appear in the game too. So when we start getting updates, it's going to get really full. It's going to be great when it's by the time it's all completely finished.
What has been kind of, I know you've had a lot of chaos going on with all this, but what's been your favorite process of making these two games?
My favorite process,
Sorry,
finish.
favorite part of the process, I guess.
Oh, I was going to say the favorite part is finishing.
Mhm.
um, Favorite part of the process. I love sitting down and doing the layout work in the beginning. It's just it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and I love to just sit and dig. And sometimes I'll go to work and I'll come home and I'll eat dinner and I'll be sitting around do something for a couple hours and then I'm right back at it again. And I'll draw till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. So I'm really getting into it. But yeah, the drawing and then building the first one. Building the first whitewood up and shooting the ball around. And usually I don't even have flippers at that time, and I'm very good at holding the flipper with my thumb and flicking the ball and making shots. So I'm playing the ball with no power as soon as I get the thing built.
Nice.
Yeah.
One thing that people have pointed out, you opted to go with regular rollovers instead of star rollovers on your new Walking Dead. What made you decide to do that?
Um, Historically, the star rollovers have always had problems with the tooling and flash on the inserted part that's in the playfield. Um, uh, and sometimes they would get stuck. The button is a little nicer. It's got a nice ring around it with RGB in it. And then the nice thing about the new one is if you want to replace the ones in your old game, all you do that's a swap. You don't even have to change a connector.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's, reverse compatible or whatever.
Yes. Backward
Wow.
compatible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah, and they're very sensitive. I mean, you you touch them and you push them with your finger, and they're
Mhm.
they're really super light actuating, and they work well.
Did you have to do anything for the playfield? Or I guess the real question is, what did you have to do for the playfield to retool it for
Spike
this, yeah, for
3.
Spike and this version of the cabinet? And because I know with Metallica, you did
Oh yeah,
some
cabinets.
minor tweaks to get that thing going, but was there anything that you had to do to retweak
Yeah,
this
all
to
the
make it
all the
work?
light boards and everything, just converting an old game to Spike 3. All the light boards have to be redone. Um, you know, and then when you're remaking a game, you're starting with some of the things that you're keeping from your original model, and then you're changing a ton of stuff, and it's 90% as hard as doing a full game from scratch. There's just a ton of work.
I don't know if you said, but who's doing code on this one?
Guido, do you
Awesome.
guys know Mark? Do you guys know
Yeah.
Guido?
No, he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's one of the funnest guys to talk to at
Oh,
at a
he's awesome.
convention.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has stories. He has a lot of
Yeah.
stories.
He's great.
So a lot of times, we know that as the designer, you're also dealing with all the accessories and everything like that. And so I'm assuming this is even more challenging
Oh,
because
yeah.
you have parallel things. And I would say notoriously, something like Lucasfilms has been very guarded about how they want their product presented. And
Hmm.
we know how
Hmm.
long it took for the original R2D2 topper to get approved. And so
Hmm.
how are you working through that for these two projects simultaneously?
Mine is just about finished. Yeah,
Wow.
you're not going to wait a year for the topper. It's coming. We've got to get to a point where toppers have to release with games.
Yeah.
I think some people buy a game, and if they have the game sitting for a year, and then they're like, oh wow, that topper's available now, but I want to buy that next game
Yep.
instead, of the topper.
Yeah, it's easier to sell a product in your hand. Yeah.
And we're trying to we're getting closer. I mean, Metallica's topper came out right away after the game
Yep.
released. Um, so both these toppers, the one for Walking Dead and the one for Star Wars, they are stunning. Just like, wow. Really, really happy with both of them.
Can you upgrade The Walking Dead to the light bars also for the premium? Not
Yes.
the I'm sorry, not the light bars, the
Are you
the
talking
the
about the
expression
expression
lighting.
lights?
Yeah, I'm talking the expression lighting.
Oh yeah, and it's really easy to do. The trim comes with the lights and everything, and all you do is just pop it on the cabinet and bolt it down. It's much easier to add to a premium than it is on the Spike 2 system.
Oh, nice.
I guess one question I have is on Star Wars and on Walking Dead, you have like helmets and heads. Where did that concept come from and what made you decide to put like
Well, the heads came from Walking Dead. um, uh, yeah, Star Wars. I knew I wanted to do Darth Vader, and it ended up being a scoop. And Darth Vader was going to give you things and start modes, and I wanted to dress it up. And being that scoop is so low in the playfield, close to the flippers, I couldn't put a figurine, so I just molded his head. And then the stormtrooper head, we already had tooling for that one. And I had a target over on the other side that was for the stormtrooper. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to take this old shooter and I'm going to, I'll just, instead of filling it, because that was the shooter knob for the old Star Wars game, um, I didn't put the insert in it. And I just put holes in the bottom of it and attached it to the plastic and put a light bulb up in it so it would light up. So that's how the heads got there on Star Wars.
Okay, but I'm noticing a theme. Severed heads seem to be in your last, 3 games. So you have Metallica
Several
with
games. Let's
skulls and
see. My next game might have a head in it too. One. Yeah, I think I have a head in my next model that's coming.
okay.
So, yeah,
you're already working on your next game? Shouldn't you be taking a vacation?
I should, and I'm gonna take some time off here over Christmas, in between like Christmas New Year's. Um, but I just started pounding away right away because I definitely want to make sure that I have some time for a vacation this summer.
Don't you have to work on 2 games simultaneously? Isn't that in your contract? Like you have to
No,
release 2 games a year?
oh no, it's been that way for a lot of years, but it's not in the contract. So, but yeah, I'll probably pick up two. I think I'm picking up two this year.
Nice. What is the take home message that you want people to know about this game? Is like, you know what? This is why this game is awesome.
I think the thing that raises the hair on the back of my neck the most when I play that game is when I go into Death Star multi-ball and I shoot those jackpot shots. Uh, and I get through the 14 shots. And sometimes you'll hit a shot and you'll have a multiplier lit. And you'll get rewarded 2 shots for the 1 shot. But when you get to 14 and then you blast the Death Star and it opens up and you make that shot and then the game just goes dead and everything turns, all the balls drain, flippers quit, and you're like, whoa, what happened? And then all of a sudden you see the explosion in the screen. I just love that. When you get there, and it's pretty hard to start the multi-ball. And when you get there and you get to that's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Same question on Walking Dead.
The only thing, I want to say the only thing that I regret is, remember when the prison doors open and you see the zombie walking along the fence and he exposes himself and he gets clubbed with the crowbar?
Yeah.
That was me back in, 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
The new artwork for that doesn't look exact. It doesn't look like me. So that was the bummer about it. But prison multi-ball, I love doing that. I love shooting the crossbow, and I love shooting Bicycle Girl. Those growls and moans that she makes. You hear, she's. That's a lot of fun. So that's 3 things that I love about Walking Dead, and then I love the Walking Dead topper too.
Why did you put? Okay, please tell me your head is the severed head on the topper. I mean, it has to be. It has to be the John Borg zombie severed head.
It's not. It might. Well, you know what? I mean, maybe after several years of being a zombie, one of the 3, or maybe 2 of the 3 could possibly be me.
Okay.
Has it been kind of a trip down nostalgia lane, going back through making a new Walking Dead and same with Metallica?
When that show came out, I remember AMC, they'd put a timer up on the screen. It would say like 2 days, 3 hours, and 20 minutes until The Walking Dead. And they always had this timer. They were showing this timer on the screen when The Walking Dead was going to air. And I was sitting in front of the TV probably 20 or 30 minutes before the first episode aired. And I just loved it. The first season was just amazing. The first 4 seasons were just unbelievable. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it.
Is Negan in this one, in the remastered?
No. Yeah, it's still the first 4 seasons. We didn't add any of the following seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Well, you know what? The one part that I remember when they got to Terminus and they were all had their heads leaned over into that stainless steel trough, and they were gonna make food out of them.
Yeah.
I don't want anything like that in the game.
A little too over the top.
But yeah, the scenes that we picked. In the beginning when I first started working on the game, I intended on using some of the movie footage, and I actually scripted all of it and got timestamps for all the stuff that was said. And, this is where the scene starts and this is where the scene ends. And I broke all the modes down. There just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough footage there to do it. And then that's when we decided we're going to make the game we're going to recreate and better the original display effects. Like when you kill a zombie, you see a few zombies and they're wandering out, they're just kind of like waddling out in a field. And then you make one of the kill shots and you see the thing go poof, and it falls.
Mm-hmm.
And back when we were doing dots, there were probably like maybe 10 dots that made those little characters, and they were kind of campy and fun in Dot Matrix, but they're definitely more realistic and very cool looking now. Chuck and his team, they did a great job.
Well, awesome, Borg. We really appreciate you coming on. Do you feel like there's
my pleasure?
Do you think there's anything that we just haven't covered that you're like, you've got to know this about Star Wars or Walking Dead?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'll answer that one when we do the next show.
Okay,
sounds good to me. If you want people getting a hold of you, what's the best way? If you don't want them, you can just tell them now.
I'm on Facebook and Messenger and.
Cool.
Yeah, people. I haven't been on Facebook in a while, so I got a lot of friend requests that I haven't had a chance to go through. So I met some people at the influencer party when we did when we did Fall of the Empire.
Yeah.
And I had a few people, that I asked them, I go, are we friends on Facebook? And they'd say no. And I said, well, send me a friend request. And I've got to look at them. I've got a whole bunch. I just haven't had time to.
Well, now you have time, I guess.
On the internet all that much. Facebook.
Now it's time to sit in your backyard with 4 inches of snow on top of you.
4 inches of snow on my umbrella.
I want a picture of you in your Bermuda shorts and your
in my lawn chair.
Yeah, in your lawn chair.
With my snow shovel sitting right next to me.
And your sunglasses and your beach hat. That's what I need.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. If you want to get hold of, yeah, for sure. We've done this 2 or 3 times now, and every time you come on, dude, it's awesome. It's just great catching up.
Yep, it was nice to. I was nice. I met you guys influencer party last year. I can't remember which game we were showing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a picture of us by Metallica.
Yep, I was sporting my Loser Kid T-shirt at work the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you see this one? This is a Loser Kid in Metallica font. See?
Oh, cool.
We'll have to get you one of those. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Well, if you want to get a hold of us, we are loserkidpinballpodcast at gmail.com. You can get a hold of us on all the socials at loserkidpinball. If you like the shirts that Scott and I are wearing, hit us up on serverballswag.com/loserkid. Other than that, I think that does it for us tonight, Scott. You want to give us the last word?
You guys are awesome. Thanks.
No, thanks, John. Absolutely. Buy a pinball for Christmas.
Yes.